Welcome, everyone, to the Inspired Choices Show. I am your host for today's show, Christine McIver, and I am so happy to be back here with A to Zen and my wonderful producer, Holly Hall, who's with me tonight, getting me all wound back up again. I've taken a break. It was in July of this year that I concluded my last radio show, and I thought I would take a little break for a while, and I went off, did some new training, created a bunch of new exciting things that I wanted to bring to my clients and to bring to the audience. And just about a month ago, I said, you know what, I think it's time to get back on the radio. So I'm very excited, very happy to be here, and grateful to Holly to help me make this come true. So I'm happy also for all of my supporters, clients, friends, and anyone just tuning in tonight for the support that I'm getting. I have lots of people over on Facebook saying lots of great things, so I'm truly grateful. So I would like to be a possibilities coach for you. Working together, we will create the living and loving you desire with all possibilities available in the universe. My programs assist you in bringing more possibilities to actualization. Are you ready to claim what you desire? You can connect with me to learn more about what is possible. I do charge for my services, but first 5 minutes are always free to each and every person. So ask yourself, what are you ready for now? And what mystery would you like to unravel? Today's topic is allowance, the gift that keeps on giving. What's in your stocking this season? What if you could allow yourself some freedom this season? Freedom from stress, worry, judgment, conflict, pressure, maybe even family crazy dynamics? Would you be willing to allow yourself this gift? The real present to give ourselves at this time of year is the presence we be in the world. And when we allow ourselves to really receive the gift that we truly be, which is kindness and joy, we can remove all the layers that hold us back from truly enjoying what the season is meant to be. I would love for you to call in with any questions, and I will do my best to answer them for you or find some new possible tools to assist you in finding what would work for you. So if you're in the U.S., please call 815-880-8255. And Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can call in through Skype, zen.fm, A to Zen.fm. Or connect with me at inspiredchoices.ca, on Facebook, Inspired Choices Inc., or Twitter, Inspired Choices. So you can get us just about anywhere, right, Holly? We also have a wonderful chat room where you can come over to the A to Zen site and you can actually text in your questions if you have any questions, and we would do our best to work with you there. So what is allowance? Oftentimes when people talk about allowance, what they're talking about is acceptance. So they accept the way things are, and they believe that they're being in allowance of someone else. But sometimes it's more tongue-in-cheek, like, yeah, I accept that that's the way they're being, but they're not, it feels like oftentimes they don't feel like they have any choice around it, and they're bothered by it. What allowance, I'm going to read this definition which was given to me, which I really love. Allowance is not being a doormat. Allowance is not hiding your true thoughts or feelings. Allowance is not ignoring anything. And allowance is not pretending not to care. Allowance is being willing to not have any judgment about whether something is right or wrong, good or bad. It's being willing to let people choose what they choose and not being affected by their choice. Now that's a pretty heavy definition, heavy as in it's full of a lot of thoughts and a lot of energy. And it's not something that we have been really taught how to be in the world. We have been taught to judge things from the moment we entered this earth. We have been taught to judge what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's bad. You know, I can remember growing up, I came from a very large family. I'm the ninth, 10 children. And we actually grew up and lived in the country. I grew up just outside of Stratford, Ontario, Canada, which for any of you not from this area, that's about an hour and a half from Toronto. And no, I don't know Rob Ford. Just in case you were wondering. Holly, do you know Rob Ford? So growing up in this large family, you know, there was lots of play and there was lots of fighting that would go on. And my mother would often say, shh, the neighbors might hear you. So there was this worry and there was this energy of, you know, you don't want them to see what we're doing. You don't want to be judged by what we're doing. And there was definitely the visual in our minds that was something that was bad, that we shouldn't do that. And so, you know, we're looking at something and we're automatically deciding, is that a good thing or not? And we're being judged. We go to school as young children, and we go to school and we are constantly being told what's right or what's wrong or what's good or what's bad. Now, because I come from such a large family, there's a lot of people who in my family who have little children right now. So these are nieces and nephews' children. So yes, I'm a great aunt. So there's in many of these little children, they're going to school, and if they're playing or they're acting out, whatever, they're being judged right away whether they're having good behavior or bad behavior. And I find that very interesting, that standing back now, looking at what's going on in the schools, now that I don't have little ones in the grade schools, and looking at how these little ones that are barely 5, 6, 7 years old, how they are being judged. And we're not really teaching these children how to be an allowance of each other or an allowance of themselves. And we wonder why we're having the challenges, why they're having the challenges. You know, more than ever, there are so many people that are definitely having assistance from doctors or going to psychologists or in some kind of care. And for the most part, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I've gone for care many times myself in learning on how I can move through the different energies and different situations in my life. But a big, big part of it is that we are judging ourselves because we have been judged that something we were doing or being, we were wrong. And now we're judging ourselves, and it nearly gets to the point that we feel paralyzed, that we don't know what we are to do. And we really have not been taught how to be an allowance of what other people do, other people think, and certainly we haven't been an allowance of ourselves. Oh, Holly is saying that Justin Bieber is from Stratford. So if you can kind of put a big claim to fame around Justin Bieber, but we're famous for a lot more things than Justin. But Justin, you know, he started out pretty good. I guess Justin's having some few challenges in his life. But hey, you know, just how many of us are in allowance of what Justin is choosing? And remember, allowance is not about being a doormat. And allowance is not about saying whether something is good or bad or ignoring anything. It is about being in the world in allowance of what someone chooses. And how many of you that are listening today are in allowance of anything you've ever done that you have been judged was right or wrong? How many of us get up in the morning and we choose to put something on, and what we're doing is we're judging ourselves into the choices that we make, even with our clothing? How many of us honestly say, well, today I'm just going to be an allowance of the fact that I want to be comfortable. This is what I'm choosing. And this is what I'm choosing for today, and it doesn't mean anything significant about who I be. Not very many of us. And then what oftentimes happens is when we are talking about being an allowance of ourselves, what often happens is we just say, I don't care what anybody else thinks. But that's not really true, is it? When we are saying that, there's nearly an energy to it, isn't there? That, to heck with it, I don't care what anybody else thinks. It's not really about being an allowance. It's totally about being at the effect of nearly like that fighting. So there's a judgment that someone is going to be judging what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and so we don't want to even move forward with something because we're afraid that we're going to be judged. What would it truly, truly be like for each and every one of us? Let's say there's 50 people listening to this call or listening to this recording. What can we create between all of us listening if we were to choose for this holiday season, for the next 30 days that would take us into the new year? What would we create in the world if we were to be an allowance of what anybody chooses? Anybody at all. Be an allowance of people that we may judge spend too much. Be an allowance of anyone that we judge doesn't get dressed up enough. Be an allowance of anyone who judges that we are doing something wrong. So over the last year, I've actually continued my education. I love learning and growing. And I've been doing a lot of work and education with Access Consciousness. And Access Consciousness is an organization started by Gary Douglas. And Gary Douglas has been doing Access Consciousness for 25 years. And what Access Consciousness is really about is empowering people to know that they know. And one of the very big things with Access Consciousness is allowance. So allowance, their definition of allowance is being in the world without judgment, including judgment. Can you imagine that? To be in the world, even to be in the world with someone judging you and you not judging that they are judging you. You having no attachment to that. Can you imagine what that would create for you as far as no stress? It certainly has been creating some amazing experiences for me, and I know it has been creating some amazing experiences for clients of mine as well. And I would love to talk more about allowance and what, any questions that anyone has, you can post it over on the Inspired Choices Facebook page, or better yet, give me a call and we can talk about it online, any questions you have about it. We're going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dig deeper into this and how we can really use this tool over the next month for sure, a gift that we give to ourselves. So please stay tuned, and we will be back very shortly.
You're listening to A2Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our host provides you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life, in your world. Knowledge is power. A2Zen.fm.
We welcome your phone call, your questions, and comments. Please call now, 815-880-TALK. Come on, what's stopping you? 815-880-8255. You can Skype us for free from anywhere. Just add us to your Skype. A2Zen.fm is our Skype name, or you can find the logo and click on it on our website. Call now at 815-880-TALK. Chat soon.
All right. Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Choices with Christine McIver, your host tonight on the show. We need to get back to our topic tonight, and we're talking about allowance and what allowance really is and how allowance can be a gift that we give to ourselves. Allowance is about being in the world and allowing anybody be what they truly choose to be. Can you imagine that? To really be in allowance of other people's choices without judgment, without conclusion, without having any energy around it, kind of like observing it from a distance, even if it's up close and personal to you. Allowance is such an amazing gift. But what often happens is as we become more and more aware of what is happening around us, we kind of feel like we are being hit with new awarenesses. We're being hit with, hey, this is what's going on with that person, when we become super aware of what is happening with those people around us. And oftentimes the allowance is not quite there. So a really cool tool that Access Consciousness teaches is something I'd like to share with you tonight. So the allowance tool is absolutely amazing. And when we are being in allowance of anything, it just becomes an interesting point of view. And an interesting point of view is the tool that I'm going to get into a little bit more, but we have a caller on the line right now, so I'm going to take our caller, and Holly is teaching me how to do this on my own. So I'm going to go over here and take my caller. Hello, caller, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, who am I speaking with?
Hello, this is Jennifer. How are ya?
Hi, Jennifer.
What's up?
Hey, what's up with you?
Oh, I'm listening to your talk about allowance, and I think it's a very good reminder for all of us. It's kind of funny. You think you're enlightened, and then you realize that you're not. You go back into the old patterns of not being in allowance. And I just wanted to thank you for that reminder, especially at this time of year.
You're welcome. What have you been finding has the trigger for needing that reminder?
Oh boy,
just for you.
For me, it's just I think it's the busyness of the season, and just it's hard to do that. It's hard to manage, I find sometimes. Especially, and when you're in allowance of it, I believe you sort of, it's not as stressful. It's not as, well, I have to do this. Or, oh gosh, I hope I don't have to go to that Christmas party. Or,
are they listening?
All this money I have to spend, and I got to keep these people happy, and yes, no, but it's good. I thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome. That's a really good point, because money is such a trigger at this time of year, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And when we are making those choices, and it really is a choice, when we're making those choices to purchase a gift for someone, or to, it's funny, coming from a very large family, we didn't buy for every person. We didn't, there wasn't, I didn't go out and end up buying 35 gifts. We would, buy for maybe one that was close in age to us, or, everybody would maybe buy something for my mom and dad, or we would all go together to get a gift for my mom and dad, and it didn't become this spend crazy thing. And then what was interesting as we grew up, that seemed to expand nearly to the point where there was an expectation that you're right. to buy? Like, do you buy for all your children's teachers?
Oh, it's not like when we were kids, right? They have French teachers, they have gym teachers, they have, drama teachers. Like, it's crazy. So I just tell my children, let's just pick one. Pick one. And we always buy for the bus driver because the bus driver's great. Because we want to.
Perfect. Because you want to.
Because we want to. Yeah.
Right. And what if someone said, I choose not to buy gifts for any of the teachers? What would that feel like for you?
That's fine. That'd be fine with me. Another thing too, I have little kids, so I try to have them like make something, or along those lines. If they want, if they want to buy, if they're feeling generous,
right?
It's sort of like, okay, we can buy one, but if you want something special for this teacher, we're gonna have to get crafty.
Right.
And
so do you ever feel, Jennifer, judged from other people when you make your choices like this?
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely. Actually, I have a prime example of this, and I know my brother's not listening, so I'm going to say it.
Okay, cool.
We draw names because we come from a very large family as well, us good Catholics, right? And
there isn't any judgment in that,
honey.
Is there?
That's my suggestion for the next one. And
okay.
We were drawing names, and he's the head of the family and quite the lion, and he basically says, I never get what I want. It's $50. You might as well just give me $50. I never get what I want. I always get something stupid, and it doesn't matter who gets me. I'm never happy with what I get. And, the old Jennifer, past Jennifer, would probably be like, you're an asshole. Sorry. Oh, you're not allowed to say that. Anyway, but I said it. I'm an allowance of swearing on the radio. But, I actually said it out loud. I said, interesting point of view. Like, cool.
How did that go?
He stopped in his tracks. He's like, what? Like, excuse me? And I'm like, oh, okay. And it stopped the conversation completely. Like, completely stopped it. And you know what? I drew his name. So this would be interesting.
Right. So you drew his name this year.
So he's getting a fart in a bottle.
Hilarious.
Oh, no.
You're hilarious. But it really is the time of year when, while we're saying over and over again that, this is the special time of year, this is the time to be kind, and so on and so forth, there seems to be a great deal of people that are making choices, and I'm not saying that I haven't done this, but are making choices based on the judgment of what someone else thinks. Right? I can tell you today it was very interesting. I had an amazing day, so I just got to take us off path for just a minute, Jennifer. But I had an amazing day, and if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you saw I posted a picture of a beautiful family who have been living here. They moved here from Mexico 4 years ago, and today was their Canadian citizenship ceremony day. It was absolutely amazing. I was honored to be their guest. And it was quite an experience of sitting there and being an allowance of everyone in the room. And some people were very, very excited and very dressed up, and it was a very formal, very important occasion for them. And other people, perhaps it wasn't, whether they didn't have the money for formal clothes or whether they were choosing for it not to be something formal for them, right? Because it's something they have to do in order to fulfill their citizenship. So it was wonderful to be there and be an allowance of what was happening with them. And not that it was difficult. It was a wonderful experience to have. But how many of us go through life making choices And this was a very big choice that this family made, very big choice to move to another country. And I don't know what it is for them because I've not been through this, but what it might have been for them to come from another country, to not have the customs, to not have the language, to not have the understanding, the connections, to maybe doing things in a different way and feeling judged. Imagine what a different experience it could be for people coming from another country, from another culture, people coming from another town, and we be in allowance of what they choose to be, and how that can make something that could otherwise be heavy and tangled and yucky as being a wonderful experience. I know when I go to other countries, I love learning about the people, and I love learning about what their cultures are and the food that they eat and how they make it and all of these different things. But are we that much in allowance when they come to our country? I don't know that we are.
Good point.
But at this time of year in particular, when people are going out and they're buying gifts, are they buying gifts because they want to be accepted, because they want him or her to like it, or are we doing it from the perspective of, I don't want to be judged? How many people are going into debt because they don't want to be judged as the stingy parent, right? Yeah. So you've got, I'm no longer with my husband of past. And I tell you, I know that there has been times when I did it and when he's done it where we are trying to, quote unquote, one-up the person with the Christmas presents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? What does that create in us when we are not in allowance of what works for us? And when we're not in allowance of what the other person chooses, it creates a heavy energy, and it's certainly not creating, quote unquote, peace on earth.
No.
And honestly, by December the 27th, does it make any difference? Your brother obviously remembers the gifts that he's been given, but do you remember, do you honestly remember that something was significantly less than with gifts from one year to the next, or even one month after Christmas is over? No. But we are not, we the individual are not in allowance of choosing what we choose because it's right for us. We're actually judging ourselves, which is creating the conflict and the pressure within ourselves. And there's no freedom there, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Jennifer, thank you so much for calling in and really getting this rolling. I truly appreciate it. Well, you know what? I'm not sure what next week's topic's going to be, but I would love for you to tune in next week and bring all your friends, and we can really have a hoot and a holler.
Oh, you bet you will.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Good
Bye.
Show.
Thanks. Bye. So we're talking about allowance, as I said, and what I really want to teach right now and share with you is a little bit more about the interesting point of view. So interesting point of view is a tool that's taught through Access Consciousness that is absolutely phenomenal. If you would like to know more about Access Consciousness, you just go to accessconsciousness.com. There's a great deal of information there. You can go to YouTube. Access Consciousness has all sorts of free YouTubes that you can listen to and learn. And I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the other programs that I'm involved with, but I want to really get to this interesting point of view. So interesting point of view is whenever you are feeling judgment from someone else, or you're hearing someone else say something that is judgmental. So judgment is not real. There's no true significance to judgment. What judgment is it's someone else's point of view or someone else's measuring stick. So when I say measuring stick, it's like what is good or what is bad. And we've all heard of the stories where a child, goes to school and they work really, really hard and they come home and in the one household, they would come in and they would have a mark of 75, and the parents would be very joyful and happy and very proud of the child. And then in another household, the child would get 95, and the parent would go, what happened to the other 5 marks? Both are being judged, good or bad. We often think as judgment as being something bad, like that's an ugly car, where when we say something positive, like that's a beautiful car, that's a compliment. But judgment, they're both judgments from someone's perspective, from someone's point of view. And when we are looking at something, when someone is saying something like the economy is worse than it's ever been at this time of year, and in our mind we say, interesting point of view. The economy has never been better. Interesting point of view. When we are looking at this and all we are saying is interesting point of view, what we're doing is we're getting unlocked from the judgment of it, and it's not actually impacting us. So we're going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, I believe we have another caller, and we're going to get back into this a little bit more, and I would love to hear from you. If you have a question, post it over on the Facebook page. I know I have one question there, too. I'm going to read out as soon as we get back. Okay, stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to A2Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our hosts provide you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life, in your world. Knowledge is power. A2Zen.fm.
We welcome your phone call, your questions, and comments. Please call now, 815-880-TALK. Come on, what's stopping you? 815-880-8255. You can Skype us for free from anywhere. Just add us to your Skype. A2Zen.fm is our Skype name, or you can find the logo and click on it on our website. Call now at 815-880-TALK. Chat soon.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Choices with your host, myself, Christine McIver, your possibilities coach. So today we're talking about allowance, and allowance, the gift that keeps on giving. And it keeps on giving because it gives you more of you. It gives you more possibilities and more choices, and it gives you more space and enjoyment with others regardless of what they choose. So I have a question from a caller over on our Facebook page from Carol, and she said, any hints to break the habit of being, quote-unquote, on guard with certain situations or people so we can choose allowance instead? She says, sometimes I think being on guard is a little more than a habit for me anyway. You know, that's a really great point, Carol, and thank you for bringing that up. You know, our first language is energy. Our first language is not speak. It is actually energy. And if you're not sure of that, think about a child. Think about an infant. Besides the fact that they can cry really, really well, they are also giving an energy all of the time. And you can pick up, a mother especially, can sense what's going on with their child without any tools. That is our first language. And when we are putting up a guard, when we are apprehensive around someone, they can feel it. And what it actually does, oftentimes when we're putting that guard up, they can feel that guard there, and they feel like it's something that they need to push against or be in resistance of it, because we create a heavy energy with it. If there is someone in your life, someone that you meet, that is creating this old habit or old desire to want to put up a guard, the most amazing thing to do is the exact opposite. Because when they don't feel resistance, when they don't feel like there's any judgment like good or bad, or I'm feeling something from you I don't want to receive, when they're not feeling anything that's there, they actually have nothing else to push against, and it will often dissipate what they are doing. The energy will dissipate with them towards you. So if you imagine yourself, I often think in visuals, imagine yourself like a hologram. And when they are coming towards you with whatever that energy is that you're not really enjoying all the time, if you think of yourself like a hologram and you're being an allowance and you're just allowing the energy to flow through you, whatever that energy is that they're choosing to be, you will immediately have nothing there for them to hit, for them to push up against. And you know, this tool, interesting point of view, is something that I would say would be best if you practiced. It's not a light switch unless it is for you, but for most of us, it takes some practice. Interesting point of view, interesting point of view. It's a fun tool to use if you really want to practice it without anyone around. Turn on the news. I'm not someone that encourages people to turn on the news. It's not something that I watch for more than about 2 or 3 minutes just to kind of get the hot topics of what's going on in the world. That's my choice. But if you turn on the news and you hear the trauma and the drama that the news people put in just to get your attention, and if you would do around everything you hear there, that's a judgment. Remember, judgment is what somebody deems as good or bad, right or wrong. And you continuously say in your mind or even out loud, interesting point of view, with no charge. You know, right? So you can say words, but they can still have a judgment in them. Like if I said, interesting point of view, Holly. Interesting point of view, Holly, that you made me do this all by myself. No, she didn't. I'm just joking. If you do interesting point of view, interesting point of view, interesting point of view, after about doing it 10 times in a row, you will so get this, and it is so much fun. So I would encourage you, Carol, as much as you can, be there and imagine yourself as a hologram and allow their energy to dissipate through and around you. It will not stick to you, and it will create so much more space and so much more availability that you may even find the relationship between the two of you will begin to be a contribution for you. So we're going to go to our caller. Hello, welcome to the show. What is your name?
Hi, Christine. It's Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy you're back on the radio.
Oh, thank you so much. My gosh, I am so blessed with wonderful people.
So awesome how are you? Again.
Thank you. How are you doing, Lauren?
I've been doing really well, actually. I'm back in school, so
congratulations.
Exam time. You know, things are good.
Oh, cool. So what do you think about our topic?
I actually really like this topic. I think it touches base with everybody, and everyone can relate to it in their own way.
How have you been using this tool at all, or is this just new to you?
I think this is something I'm starting to experience and be okay with on my own. But it's always, I have to remind myself to be okay with it. It doesn't feel like it comes naturally.
Okay. So say a little bit more about be okay with it.
I think a specific situation is at a point in my life now, I feel like a lot of friends and people are hitting these monumental life stages. They're engaged, or they're married, or they're having kids. And I keep getting this pressure from my family and family members, and they ask me, like, well, what are you doing with your life? Where are you at? And I don't know how to respond because I'm actually happy with where I'm at, but I feel like I have to defend the fact that I still live at home and that I go to school and I'm not getting married right now, but and just to allow them to have their own opinions on that, but not get defensive about it.
That's really interesting that you bring that specific example up, Lauren. I've got to tell this story. It was really interesting. So, as I said before, I grew up in a very large family, and a lot of my siblings were married by the time they were anywhere between 18 and 20 years old. They were married. And growing up, the ninth of 10, I thought the answer to happiness was getting married, having babies, and then, immediately you were going to be happy. What an illusion. Anyways, on Saturday, this past Saturday, I got together with my oldest and dearest friend. That there's pictures of us when we were 2 and 3 years old having birthday parties together, which was so cool. But I hadn't seen her for 25 years. It had been 25 years since we'd seen each other. And we live, 2 hours from each other. And life just happened to get in the way. Anyways, what was really interesting through our conversation, we went back to the time that you're experiencing right now. And we talked about it, and I said, I really felt like I really felt the pressure like I had to get married. And she said, what are you talking about? I got married after you. What was so interesting was we were in our own space, but we were both experiencing the same thing. And it made me really step back and think about where else does that happen in my life? Where else is it happening with so many other people? So while you're feeling that and you're personally experiencing that, that may be happening for a great many other people at the same time. And when you're using interesting point of view, Lauren, and everyone that's listening, when you're using interesting point of view, when people are asking you that question and you can feel a judgment in there, as you continue to do that, your awareness is going to get even higher because you're probably going to start realizing and seeing where it's happening with other people too. Isn't that so cool?
I do. I agree with that. Makes a lot of sense.
Fantastic. Well, you keep doing it. Have amazing exams, and please stay tuned and call in again. I really appreciate your support. It's fantastic.
Thanks, Christine. I hope you have an awesome Christmas.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye for now. Well, we can go on with the subject, and it's certainly not a subject that doesn't have a lot of energy to it. But I want to share a little bit about what's going on with Inspired Choices, some of the programs that are available to people out there, and some of the exciting things that are coming up, some of the events. Like for you, great. If you want to know more information, reach out, give me a call, email me. You can always get all my information at inspiredchoices.ca. So coming up on Tuesday, December the 7th, so it's just short of 2 weeks from now, a colleague of mine, Carol Glover, and I are putting on a free event for everyone out there that is well past doing the New Year's resolutions and well past the what do they call it, business plans, and they want to have something different that really creates expansion and new creativity. So we're putting on a free event. It's going to be an online event anywhere in the world. You can call in, listen, and it'll be recorded as well. And it's being called Play with Possibilities 2014 and Beyond. So we'll have all the details on the Inspired Choices Facebook page for sure and on my website. So I hope you'll be able to join us and really let's make this expand our worlds and expand the worlds for our clients and customers and family and friends out there. Let's have more fun in our lives, have more fun and joy in our businesses, in going to school, in whatever we're doing. Let's play with the possibilities that are truthfully available to each and every one of us, because I can tell you there's more and more available when we are having fun. When we are down in the gloom and doom and judgment and we're not in allowance of any interesting choices that we made, it doesn't create more. It actually contracts us, and it actually takes away from what is available to us. There's so much available in the universe, and Carol and I are excited to be a contribution if that's of interest to you. So that's being called Play with Possibilities 2014 and Beyond, Tuesday, December the 17th. The next event after that that's coming up, and I'm going to be hosting one of the leaders in Access Consciousness. Her name is Marilyn Bradford, and she is coming to Burlington, which is just outside of Ontario, outside of Toronto, just over the border from Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and she's coming for a 2.5 day Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday event. You can choose to join 1, 2, or all 3 of those events. She's coming to there, and we're putting on the event called Right Recovery for You. So what is Right Recovery for You? Right Recovery for You is a program that is really helping each and every one of us to move past some of what I've talked about tonight, which is the judgment in life. It's also learning to be in the world in a way that is a contribution for each and every one of us. So Friday night is called Hocus Pocus of Mental Diagnosis. And we thought that would be a great event to have, especially after Christmas and New Year's, when a lot of people experience a great deal of challenge. You know, there's often a lot of challenge, mental stress, depression, sadness, loneliness, and sometimes a lot of addiction issues. So Hocus Pocus of Mental Diagnosis is Friday evening. Saturday, Ending the Primary Addiction, Judgment, and the Wrongness of Self. And that one is sure to impact each and every person, whether you have the addiction of judging yourself, the addiction of any kind of substance, the addiction of shopping. It doesn't matter what it is. Any place that you are judging yourself, this is going to be a contribution. And then Sunday, it's another amazing day. It's going to be, Are You Eating to Live or Living to Eat? So all 3 days, if you sign up to join us before Christmas, the early bird special, you get all 3 of those for just $275. So it's an amazing deal. And certainly looking forward to having Marilyn contribute to all of us in this area. It's something that I brought her here specifically because I know what a difference it has made in my life, and I really want to see what it can do for other people too. So Possibilities Coaching is one of the primary things that I do with in my business. I also have just launched a new website today with Carol Glover. It's called Being Visible. And we don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to go into too much description about that. But the Being Visible is about assisting you to be visible in the world online. Whether you have a small business or you're looking to expand your career, we're creating websites and really bringing the true you to the stage on your own website page. And between Carol and I, we probably have more than 50 years of experience and knowledge and hands-on experience of growing our own businesses and learning and seeing what works. And we're bringing all of that together to be a contribution to anyone interested. So that's called beingvisible.ca. Also, Access Consciousness, 3 of the primary tools, 3 of the primary educational courses, Access Consciousness, the bars, and that is an energy healing modality that both I teach, I facilitate, and I also give to clients. Check out Access Consciousness, the bars. It is an amazing energy healing that basically hits the delete button on any thoughts, feelings, beliefs, emotions that are hurting you, that are holding you back from your life and living. And it creates the opportunity to clear it and open up new possibilities where you want to have new experiences in your life. And it has been an amazing contribution from the very first time I had my bars run. It's called Getting Your Bars Run. The very first time, it was phenomenal. Then we have Foundation and Level 1. And Foundation and Level 1 are 2 verbal processes where you are going and you are learning how to unlock yourself from the tools, where you unlock yourself from the ways of being in the universe that are holding you back and limiting you and not allowing you to step into the infinite possibilities. Both of these programs begin to do that for you. All of the information you can find on my website at inspiredchoices.ca, and as well, Access Consciousness, Access the Bars. You can find so much online, and it is really a very exciting new programs that are being brought forth. And I know I have a lot of colleagues out there all around the world. So wherever you're listening from, whatever your desire is, you can find someone online just through the Access Consciousness website. And the contribution that these people are making and what the change that they want to create in the world is so exciting. And I'm excited to hear from more and more people about the experiences that they are having, whether you're having challenges with young children, whether you're having challenges with, your job or the people that you work with, your boss, finding a new place to live, whatever the case may be, there's so many tools through Access that can assist you. Also, I would like to just give a big shout out to Holly. She's been helping me the whole time tonight to keep things rolling here, and it's been exciting. And Holly's an amazing woman who she definitely has so many talents, and she has her own radio show here on A to Zen, and she's helping to make a huge contribution to the world too. So thank you, Holly, for everything that you do. And all of my supporters and friends and clients and family members and people that I've been meeting through Facebook, which I really enjoy. A lot of people talk about Facebook as a bad thing. You know what? It's a place where we can be social and we can connect. And if something's not working for you, maybe practice interesting point of view and learn to be a little bit more in allowance of what other people choose, remembering that whatever someone else chooses is just something they're choosing. It doesn't necessarily have to affect you only if you choose it. So how would it feel if you were to just start playing with that tool? I would love to hear from you. If you're going to choose to work with Google and be interesting point of view about what anyone says, about what anyone says to you, what anyone says about anyone else, imagine how we can change gossiping, how we can change anger towards each other, how we can change the way we really be in the world with each other. And when someone is choosing to, hurt themselves, when someone is choosing hurt themselves from maybe not caring for their bodies, maybe not sleeping enough, maybe not caring for themselves by making choices that support their happiness, if we can do interesting point of view, you actually get unlocked from the judgment of it, and it creates more space and more possibilities for them. Just imagine what we could do. That could be one of the hugest contributions you and I can make for other people. If we can do interesting point of view about what they're choosing, we create the space for them. And if someone is judging you, the more that you are doing interesting point of view with them, you become, like I said before, the hologram, where the energy of what they're doing just passes through you. When you find yourself judging yourself or judging someone else and you just are down in the thick of it, maybe you're down in the thick of it for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden you get this pop around the interesting point of view tool, and then you go, oh, interesting point of view, I had that point of view. And the more that you keep doing that and you be an allowance of the fact that 5 seconds ago that's what you did, you will get unlocked from it and move forward. Thank you so much for everyone for joining today. We'll be back again next week, Wednesday, December the 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I would love to take your calls, questions, and any ideas or subject topics you would like to talk about. I'd love to hear from you. Again, connect at inspiredchoices.ca or Inspired Choices Inc. on Facebook and Inspired Choices on Twitter. Until next week, my friends, have an amazing, amazing week. And remember, being an allowance, the gift that you can give to yourself. All the very best. Bye for now.
You're listening to A to Zen FM, life-altering talk radio. Anything from activism to Zen and everything in between, right here and now. Informative, inspiring, engaging. Our hosts provide you with the global news and educated advice you need to make a difference in your life.